Former NBC News anchor Sherrie Dunlevy served the Wheeling, West Virginia area for nearly 30 years, both on television and radio. Today, she is a best-selling author, inspirational speaker, and the founder of the Graduating Grief Academy and online support community, host of the Graduating Grief podcast. Her number one best-selling book, How Can I Help?, was written to help people know exactly what to say and do when people they love and care about are hurting. As a self-proclaimed inspirationista, Sherrie's passion lies in inspiring and encouraging women to step beyond the pain of their past so they can step fully into living with purpose, passion, and joy. So Sherrie Dunlevy, we're looking so forward to your presentation. The floor is yours. God bless you. Let's welcome Sherrie Dunlevy.
Well, CL, thank you very much for that wonderful introduction. I am so honored that you did that. It's very challenging what I do, because when I went to college, this is not what I expected to be. I went to college to be a television news anchor, a television news reporter. That's where my passion lied at the time. And I was very successful at it. And, you have your life planned exactly as you want it. You know what career you want, you want to get married, how many children you want to have, where you want to live, what kind of house you want to live in. But then sometimes they say God laughs at your plans. And that's kind of what happened to me. Sometimes the rug is pulled out from underneath of you. And so here I was in the midst of having this wonderful life, and was pregnant with my second child, in at the ultrasound to find out whether it's a boy or a girl, and I hear the words, Mrs. Dunlevy, can you come in? We have to take some pictures and some more pictures. We need to get a better view. And that mama's heart just knew something was terribly wrong. And it was. My son had a congenital defect called a diaphragmatic hernia. I'm not going to go into what all that is, but I will tell you that what they shared with us is that the chances of his survival were very low. In fact, not good at all. So, this was not in my plans. This was not what I had expected. And so I went from, being on top of the world to suddenly in this mode to try to save my son's life. And then finally, I found myself as a grieving mother. And I'm doing this publicly. And it was very difficult. It was very challenging. And I was loved and supported and lifted up through this by so many people that I didn't even know. But then there were some people who absolutely did not support me. They left our lives. And I found out that was very common for people who've gone through any kind of pain, any kind of loss. And so fast forward all these years, 23 years later, I find my passion now lies in helping people get back up and get back to life, because we only get one, and it's a powerful one. And I don't want anyone missing out on it. My son only got to live 29 days. Here I am living 60 years this year. And I really want to do the most with what I have. And I want that for everyone as well. So this is what I do now. And let's just take a look at the last 2 years, because we always think about grief as death, but grief is also other things that we've lost. We've lost in the last 2 years, human touch. When we were isolated because of the pandemic, hugs and kisses, graduations, weddings, school seasons, vacations, family holidays, family vacations. Some of us lost our income. Some of us lost our careers, our jobs, our marriages. We've lost a lot, and we've lost a lot of people that we love. We've had death of family members and deaths of friends and loved ones who are dying alone. And we had no way to say goodbye except maybe FaceTime if we were lucky. And then we had to hold a funeral and maybe not be able to even hold a funeral. So we had no one there to physically comfort us. And when we grief and unresolved grief, we don't know what it is. So if you look at the definition of grief is losing the feelings that we have when we lose someone or something that we love, then I would venture to say all of us have been grieving at some point or another in these past 2 years. And we need to address it, and we need to move through it, and we need to heal. Because grief and unresolved grief, yes, it could look like sadness. Yes, it could look like crying. But let's take a look at the world in general. Let's look at the anger issues that are popping up all over the world, the rudeness that we see on airplanes and in stores, on social media, or people pulling back. They just don't want to deal with anyone. There's feelings of hopelessness and fear and turmoil and depression, so many different feelings. And I want to ask you, what would the world and its people look like if we took the time to manage and heal our own grief? And many people don't even believe it's possible. And I used to be one of those people, because I bought into some of the myths. And two of the biggest myths there are is that grief's carried with you the rest of your life. And especially if you've lost a child, you'll never, ever be able to be happy again. That's what people told me. You will carry this sadness, this grief forever. And I'm thinking, that sounds like a life sentence. And let's look at it. Where am I supposed to carry it? On my right hip, my left hip, over my shoulders? How do you carry this thing called grief? Or let's look at the other myth. Time heals all wounds. Well, that means you do nothing and you just wait to feel better. And you can wait the rest of your life. Like I said, my son lived 29 days. I don't want it to take, and I waited 10 years to heal from my grief. I don't want it to take anyone 1 minute longer than it has to. And time is ticking. Let's look at the average lifespan. It's 78 years old in this country right now. That means the time awake is 52 years. So if you're 30, 48 years to life expectancy, you have 32 of those years awake. Okay, I'm at 60. If I live to the average lifespan, 18 years, which means that I only have 12 awake. That is not a lot of time. We cannot afford to waste time. Our life is calling, and the world needs us. The world needs us, and it cannot use us, and we cannot be effective with our life if we let grief and pain hold us back. So the choice is yours. Do we exist and just merely survive, or do we live and we thrive? And surviving can look like fear and guilt and anxiety. And we want to heal, but we're afraid because that looks like I'm forgetting them. Or like me, I was trying to keep everyone around me safe. I've lost one child. I don't want to lose another. I don't want to lose my, anytime my husband, went to the doctor, I was a nervous wreck. They were going to find something. I was so afraid, living locked in fear of losing other people that I love. And then the guilt. How can I live, love, laugh again when my son is dead? And then the anxiety. What if I cry in public? Or, oh my gosh, what if I smile or laugh in public? This is surviving. And that's what I did for 13 years. But now I'm thriving, and that's what I want to share with others. And I did this through grief completion and personal and spiritual development and a positive, encouraging community. All of these things that I needed to graduate from the things that I was doing and graduate from the life I was living and step into living on purpose, with purpose. And then that leads to living with passion and joy. And that's where we all can make our impact. I started a business 10 years ago, and I was with a coach, and the coach was telling me, Sherrie, I know you want to move forward, but until you look back and heal your grief, you can't go anywhere, because grief can hold us hostage. And I don't want that for anyone else. So what's your grief? Is your grief a loss of someone that you love? Is your grief a failure from the past? Is your grief your children finally leaving the nest? Is your grief a marriage that's dissolved or a relationship that's dissolved? Sometimes that can hold us hostage from moving forward with what all is possible in life. And that's what I want for you. For some reason, this isn't advancing. Oh, so are you ready to graduate from the pain of your grief? I've created this wonderful quiz that helps you find out where you are in the journey. You answer these questions, and then I send you back your results, and you can schedule a free consultation with me, and we can find a great fit for you. The Graduating Grief Academy is something that I've created to take grievers where they are, whether it's in acute grief or whether it's I want to heal, but I don't know what to do next. I can help with all of that. And in the meantime, here's free resources that I have for everyone. I have a positive community of support on Facebook called Graduating Grief, Living and Loving Your Life After Loss, because we feed hope and healing. We allow pain, but we don't feed the pain. We feed the hope and the healing. Anyone is welcome to join. And we want to encourage hope and healing at all times. And I also have the Graduating Grief podcast that you can listen to at any time, where I'm not just the only person that's managed to do this with my life. I have living examples of other people who have experienced great pain, great loss, and are living meaningful, wonderful, joy-filled lives. And I also have some of the best grief experts and other coaches to help you along the way as well. And then I have the Graduating Grief Academy. That is an online course. It is a virtual support community, and it is workshops and retreats. And you can check all of that out at Graduating Grief. But I just want to thank you for allowing me to be here with you all today. I don't want it to take you 13 years like it took me for your life to open back up. I don't want it to take 1 minute longer than it needs to be. Here are all the ways that you can reach me, reach out to me. I would love to hear from you. And if there's any way that I can help, I would be more than happy to. Bettina, thank you very much for allowing me this honor and privilege to be able to present to people. I just want to offer as much hope and healing as I possibly can in a world that's really hurting right now. So thank you very much.